Hey everybody, thanks for joining me for page 2 of this assignment. These are all two-step equations, otherwise known as party problems. So let's go ahead and draw our house so that we can kind of visualize what this party's all about. All right, so here's our roof, and here's our house, and let's put our front door here, and like here's the grass. I'm such a great artist. So in other words, down here, this is the basement, right? Okay. So the last person to leave the party, he actually never really leaves because he lives there. That's the host, right? So we're going to put our host right there. Host is the last to leave. Okay, now if there's someone who stands right beside the host all night long, never leaves his side, that's probably going to be the best friend. That would be the next to last person to leave. So the best friend will wait until everyone else is gone, help the host clean up, and then go home. Now, what about other people? Like over here, we have an acquaintance. So that's someone who's a friend, but you're not super close, right? So here's your acquaintance. The acquaintance will leave before the best friend does. But you know who the first person who needs to leave? It's that creeper in the basement. What is this person doing all by himself in the basement? He's probably like going through your stuff, looking for like your old embarrassing baby photos. I don't know what, but I think that creeper needs to go home first. So there's our party problem setup. Let's go ahead and start talking about these problems. Just for your reference, I'm going to be talking about number 18, 19, 23, 24, 25, and 29. Okay? And you just watch the problems that are helpful to you. Use this video in a way that helps you to learn, okay? So starting with number 18. So let's look at these different numbers and identify our partygoers. So this 4 down here on bottom, that is going to be, you got it, that's our creeper. Okay, what's the 10 going to be? That is next to the host, not right next to the host, but on the same level as the host and kind of separated. So that's our acquaintance. There we go. And the variable, well, the variable is always the host. So that's an easy one to identify. Okay, so which is going to go home first? The creeper, the acquaintance, or the host? Well, yeah, the host never goes home. Who's the first to go home? The creeper is. So right now it looks like everything is dividing by 4. So what's the inverse operation of dividing? Multiplying. So what we need to do here is multiply everything by 4. So when we multiply this side by 4, the 4s are basically going to cancel out. And then over here we're going to multiply that side by 4 because what we do to one side we have to do to the other side. So 4 times -5 equals -20. So now we just need to bring down the n minus 10. So n is still the host, and the acquaintance is over there, but we need that host to be alone. So let's get rid of the minus 10. What is the opposite of minus 10? Plus 10. So we'll add 10 to both sides. Those are going to cancel. This is going to be -10. And so our final answer is -10. Now, if you're not sure you've done it all right and you want to double check, that's always an awesome idea. You're going to do that by taking your answer and plugging it in where the variable is. Let me show you really quick. So I'm going to copy this whole thing down exactly like that, except instead of writing n, I'm going to write -10. Let's move this over and I'll do it for you. So -5 equals, instead of n, we write -10. And then we have -10. And on the bottom we have 4. And now we just simplify. -5 equals, okay, let's total those up. -10 minus 10 is going to give us -20 over 4. And then we just simplify one more time. -20 divided by 4 equals -5. Now we have -5 equals -5, and that tells us that we did a good job. We got it right. Yay! Okay, let's go to our next problem, number 19. Okay. This one is a little bit different. It doesn't line up exactly with the drawing like I did it there. So you see how we have this number 8, this -8, and it's not right beside the m. So this needs to be an acquaintance, right? Okay, so this one's an acquaintance. But this 3, he's not exactly a creeper because he's not under the whole thing. You see how this 4 was under the whole thing with a nice long fraction bar there? This 3 is kind of stuck to the M the way a best friend would be, right? Wherever that M is, he's under the M and nothing else with that little fraction bar. This is where you have the creeper best friend. And if you remember, that creeper best friend is actually going to go home last. So let's get rid of the acquaintance first. So we have a -8. We want to do the opposite of that. That means we're going to add 8. And those will total out to 0. We got to add the 8 to the other side too, of course. And let's just bring everything down. So we have m over 3 equals, looks like that's going to total to a -3. Okay, now we got to get rid of this creeper best friend. We are dividing by 3, and to get rid of it, we're going to do the opposite. So multiply by 3 on both sides. That cancels out to be 1, which leaves us with m equals -3 times 3, -9. Good work, guys. And that's how that works. So looking over here, is that going to be a creeper or a creeper best friend right here? That is a creeper, right, with the long fraction bar and everything above it. Good. What about over here? Creeper, creeper best friend. That's going to be a creeper best friend, right. It's only under the variable, and then there's some other stuff over here, and it has that short fraction bar. What about over here? Creeper best friend again. Okay, good job, guys. Let's look at number 23. This one's a little bit different. Do we have a creeper at all here? No creeper. Looks like we have an acquaintance here. Nobody's in the basement, so just acquaintance here, and someone stuck to the variable there. Remember what that was called? That was your best friend. So best friend by your side, helping you with everything. So who goes home first? The acquaintance is going to go home first here. So we have a +4. We're going to get rid of it by subtracting 4. -4. We'll do it to both sides. That's just going to become 0, which is what we want. And then we'll bring this down. -7m equals, okay, 18 minus 4, that's 14. All right, now it's time for best friend to go home. So let's divide by the -7. Right now they're multiplying together. So to get rid of that -7, we have to divide by -7 on both sides. These are going to divide out to 1, so I'm just going to cancel them. And then m is going to equal 14 divided by -7. That's -2. All right, let's go to number 24. So is there anybody in the basement in this problem? Yeah, look at this 5. Is that a creeper or a creeper best friend? That is a regular old creeper. Okay, let's label him. Creeper. Okay, and then up here, best friend, acquaintance. It's acquaintance. Good. So who's going to go home first? The acquaintance or the creeper? Creeper goes home first. So right now everything is being divided by 5. Let's get rid of creeper by doing the opposite. We're going to multiply by 5. So multiply by 5 on that side and on that side. Those are going to cancel out, leaving us just with the x minus 5 equals 0 times 5 is 0. Okay, now we just got to send acquaintance home. Right now it's -5. Let's do the opposite. So we're going to add 5. Boom, we'll add it to both sides. And now we're going to get x equals 5. And that's that for that problem. Let's go on to number 25. Okay, in 25, what do we have here? Looks like we have an acquaintance here with with the 5 there. Do we have a creeper? No, there's nobody in the basement. Cool. What about a best friend? Kind of do, don't we? We don't have a number in front of that n, but we have this negative sign. And as you know, a negative n is the same thing as -1 times n. So the best friend is pretty much that -1, or you could just call the negative the best friend. It works the same way. So let's go ahead and solve our party problem. First one to go home, the acquaintance. Right now it's +5. So let's subtract 5 from both sides. That's going to make that go away, and we're left with -16 over here equals, and I'm still going to write it as -1n. If you'd rather write it as -n, that's totally fine. Now we have to send the best friend home, and the best friend is that -1 or just the negative sign. So let's get rid of that by dividing by -1. Right now it's -1 times n, so to get rid of it we do the inverse, which is divide by -1. Dividing by -1 on both sides, we'll get rid of that. So we have just the n over here. And then -16 divided by -1, it basically just flips the sign. So we have 16 equals n. And now that one is solved. We've got one left I'm going to do with you today, and that is number 29. Is there anybody in the basement? Yeah, we've got this 9 in the basement, so we have to decide, is that a creeper or a creeper best friend? Is he under everything or just under the host? Looks like he's kind of stuck to the host. So we're going to call this guy a creeper best friend. Creeper best friend. Okay, and then the other thing we have to get rid of is the 7. Is that a best friend or is that an acquaintance? He's not right beside the N. Kind of separated, so we're going to call him an acquaintance. All right, so the first one between the creeper best friend and the acquaintance. Remember, the acquaintance has to go home first. So let's send him home. Right now it's a +7. We're going to get rid of him by subtracting 7. So that's going to zero out. 6 minus 7 is going to leave us with -1. -1 equals n over 9. Okay, finally time for our creeper best friend to go home. Right now we are dividing by 9, so we need to do the opposite of that. The opposite of dividing by 9 is multiplying by 9. So we're going to multiply by 9 on both sides. That cancels out to 1. 9 times -1 over here is going to give us -9. And that just leaves us with n over here. Okay, and that is our solution. Thanks so much for watching today, and let your teacher know if you have any questions. Bye.